Okay, if you've made it this far, good for you. That means that you have finished the original required part of the design, and now you're ready to take it a little bit further. And I'm glad to see that you're doing that. Okay, so what we're going to work on today is we're going to create this front gable. Okay, one thing I want you to note before I get started is that if you look at the slopes, um, you'll notice that the pitch we did originally for the roof is 612. That would be the side. This pitch is actually steeper at 1012. Okay, that's the secondary pitch, meaning some other roof aside from the main pitch. So this is 612. This one here is going to be quite a bit steeper at 1012. So we're going to take that into account as we make our design here. Okay, first thing I want you to notice as we get started here is that we still have some design lines here. There's some different ways of deleting those, but of course you can just kind of select over them. The other thing you can do is go to display and delete all guides, but I actually purposefully left this last guideline down here because I am going to still use that. So that one little dash line down here, I am going to still use. All right, so let's get started. First of all, I want to hide the roof that I have so far. Okay, so I'm going to go to tags and I'm going to hide the roof. All right, so I'm left with just the ceiling and the walls. And I'm going to add some things from here. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to have a couple guidelines off the side of this. And then I want a guideline right in the center of basically this window opening here. Okay, you'll notice that if you go with the tape measure tool, somewhere around here, right there, is the midpoint, and that's what we're going to use. So go ahead and click on the edge, find that midpoint right there, and create that line or that guideline. And we're going to do the same thing over here, but down here, I'm going to do it closer to the bottom. And the reason is I'm going to use this original guideline to make sure that I'm pulling this in the red axis direction. And you can actually see that happening as I pull it over. So just move it so that it's on the red axis, type in 12, enter, and I've got a 12-inch guideline off that way, and do the same thing over here. Grab the side of the wall, go over on the red axis, 12, enter, okay? And then we're going to use a few more guidelines in a few minutes, but we're going to leave it at that for now. So let's start making a gable end here, okay? And we're going to do this with the correct pitch. So let's take our pencil tool. Remember, our rise over run was 812, okay? So our run needs to be 12 inches this way. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I'm sorry, I said 12 inches, I meant 12 feet. 12 feet is going to be somewhere over here. That's too far. So what I am going to do is divide that 812 in half. Actually, let me check that. Was it 812 or 1012? Maybe it was 1012. It was 1012. I'm glad I checked. All right. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we're actually going to make a 5-6 triangle, which is equivalent. So start at the outside corner, move over this way. Again, we're on our line tool, and we're going to type in 6 feet, enter. Okay. Then I'm going to go upwards and keep it blue, and I'm going to go to, it was 10. All right. So 5 feet, enter. Okay. You can see that's quite more steep. That's a strange way of saying it. It's more steep than the original roof line, but that's okay. All right. So let's move it down like this and click. And now we've got that triangle going. It's tempting to just go like this down to the bottom and like there, but that's not what we're doing. This is actually past our center line. So what I need to do is make a mark down here, and then I'm going to erase the rest of it. The reason I went past it was because I just wanted to establish my pitch. Okay, so I don't have to worry about the rest of it. And notice I've got that. Oops, I can't do that. Let me unvisualize the ceiling. No, that's not going to work. All right, I'm just going to leave that little extra line I had there. It's not hurting anything. All right, so next thing I need to do is establish the triangle over here. So to do that, I'm going to take my measurement tool, and I'm going to simply click upwards like this and click a second time. Now I can use my line tool and go straight down, and then back to the center. Now I've got a perfect triangle above it. Okay. And if you look back at our plans, that is about that pitch. That looks accurate. All right. So let's delete that center because we don't need it. I am actually going to redraw that. You'll notice that when I deleted that center, it deleted the whole guideline. So what I'm going to have to do, and you'll probably have to do this too, is go back to your tape measure tool and pull again off the center, but this time click up here. Okay. Before I start doing any gable wall work, I want to make sure I do a couple more guidelines. So I'm going to click along this edge here, and I'm going to click out this direction. I'm sorry, actually, I'm not going to click out at all. I'm just going to click somewhere else on the line. So let me hit escape and show you that again. Go to your tape measure tool, click anywhere, and then click again somewhere else still on that plane, and then do the same thing on this side. Doesn't matter where you click, click again. And then the last mark I'm going to make is right here. I'm going to go for my end point, and I'm going to go straight up, keeping it blue, and I'm going to type in 6 inches. So 6, enter. Okay, that makes that little, whoop, I went too far. That makes that little point right there. Okay, we're going to use that point in just a few minutes. All right. Let me double check my notes, make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. All right, so I'm going to unvisualize my ceiling. Okay, you'll notice that it leaves that gap underneath the triangle here. I'm going to go ahead and take a rectangle tool and make this rectangle, okay, and fill in that gap. Then on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and push-pull that. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm checking to make sure. Pull ceiling to face. Yep. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull this right to here. And I'm going to pull this right to there. So both of them are on face inside the wall. Okay. So if you look over here, we've basically essentially created our gable wall just like we did on the outsides here. And that allows us to be ready to do our actual roof plane. Okay. So it's important that you note that in construction, you want all your overhangs to be perpendicular to your outside walls and to make sure that they're all the same distance. Otherwise, your roof lines are not going to match up. All right. So we were careful to do that. So we shouldn't have a problem. But, hopefully that'll be the case. All right. So before I do anything else, I want to unvisualize my image so that I'm down to just walls, and I'm going to make all this one group. All right, so go to your select tool, pull it around the whole thing, right click on it, make group. You'll notice that this is all now part of the same system. Right click on it. I'm sorry, not right click, click on it and choose walls. Okay, so now if I untoggle walls, everything disappears. Okay, we still need our guidelines, so don't delete those yet. All right, so next we want to make the plane for our little gable roof here. All right, so we're going to use our pencil tool. I'm going to start right here. Actually, no, I'm going to start at the front here. Make sure you're not hitting this back one. Make sure it's the front one. Okay, and pull it down all the way down to here. And then we're going to go up 6 inches. Enter. Then we're going to go back up to that initial point, that guide point. Okay. And now I'm going to come down here and kind of move up and down this line until it snaps into place like that. All right. And then down and then complete the final leg. Okay. So now, hopefully you're anticipating what we're going to do next. We're actually going to push pull that. We're going to start by push pulling it out 12 inches. Enter. Okay. And before I start pulling this in this way, I want to hide a little bit. I want to hide the walls and I want to unhide the roof. Okay. Because I'm actually going to pull this into the roof. All right. So let's go to the push pull tool again. Okay. And grab anywhere in here and we're going to pull it all the way until it disappears into the roof, at least at the top here. Okay, so anywhere in there is good, and you see that it's now kind of enjoined into the roof, the original roof. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of some of this extra geometry because it's going to be in our way. So in order to do that, this is a new tool, but it's really helpful. Get kind of towards the front here. Again, make sure your ceiling, image, and walls are not showing. We're going to pull a selection tool. Whoops, that was not correct. There we go. Selection tool all the way around the whole thing. I'm not going to make this a group, but what I am going to do is right click on it and choose intersect faces with model. And you may have noticed that it created all the lines where this intersects with the original roof plane. Okay. And we're going to use that to create a more clean look to all this. So what I'm going to do is start deleting carefully the extra roof geometry. Okay. So I'm going to go to my tool here and I'm going to start deleting. If you ever delete too much, you can just simply undo it. Okay, this is going to get a little tricky here. I need this thing gone, and then I need, I went too far. I need this one here gone. And then let's look at the front. Does everything still look okay? That does. And let's see if there's any of this geometry we can get rid of. I don't know if I can get rid of, oh yeah, I can, good. You can't get rid of this because look what happens. You lose the whole roof. So if that happens, right away, click undo. Let's go over here. Let's get rid of that guy and that guy. And then I think I got this one little triangle. That looks good. This stuff underneath, I'm not even going to bother with because it's going to be in the attic. You won't see it. And I think that's all I can do. So go ahead and get back into this area here. Now that I've deleted everything, I'm going to go ahead and group everything. So this is all going to become one group, roof group right here. So go to your selection tool, pull it around the whole thing, right click, make group, okay, and right click again, entity info, where it says untagged, now make it to the roof. And now you can see the whole thing disappears when I open the roof. So let's look at this from the bottom up. We've got the image, we've got the walls, we've got, let me turn it this way a little bit. We've got the ceiling, and now we've got the rest of the roof. And that actually looks really good. So if you look at it, I'm going to try to orient it sort of like it was on the image. It's pretty close to what you see there. Okay, so you do have to change this pitch and you do have to do some erasing, but it makes for a really nice roof design. If you're like me, you're bothered by all those guidelines, I could go around and erase them all. But again, I showed you before, click on this display thing. It looks like glasses, and click delete all guides, and now they're gone. There are some extra lines here. We're not going to worry about those right now. Maybe later in a different tutorial, we'll get rid of them. Maybe not. They're not bothering anything. But that's how you do your front gable. Save your work. And in the next video, I believe we are going to do this chimney, at least the main shape of the chimney. Okay, so save your work, and if you have time, move on to the next video. Good job.